Hello, this is Daniel Leiman, the voice behind Ray's Guide. At Con42 Fan Fest in Germany, Jarek, Huckabee, and Thorsten Leiman teased a number of things that they call the June release.
The June patch is really cool. That's coming up.
And based on today's message of the day in the testing chat forum, the next release will be called 4.2 and not 4.1.2, and could be going to Evocati as early as this evening. We know that the new event for 4.2 will be taking us across locations in Farro and Stanton, and the first one is called the Farro Data Center, which will be on Farro 4, that will involve printing certain credentials. But it was a little confusing because a great many of the things they were excited about at Con42 weren't going to be destined for 4.2 Live, but let's call it 4.2 Tech Preview.
We really want to utilize the Tech Preview channel there, and right now we are really doing the best we can to put it there.
When Benoit Boesinger outlined the new development priorities for CIG in 2025, he said that there would be nearly monthly new releases of fixes and gameplay features to the live environment, and that is what we have been seeing and what I expect its first appearance in Evocati right now. He also said, though, that new feature content, when it appears, will be appearing in the Tech Preview channel and will be released more on a we'll keep it there until it's ready basis, presumably much more than a month in time. So apparently, I am presuming after Invictus, we'll be seeing the return of the Tech Preview channel, with a specific emphasis on engineering, armor, and physicalized damage. So, for example, when they talked about fire being introduced in the June release, it was unclear if the fire was going to be in both live and the Tech Preview, or just in the Tech Preview. Also, it is clear that we'll be seeing in the Tech Preview will not be everything of the engineering gameplay.
And what I can already say is that the gameplay or the engineering gameplay there will not be the complete engineering gameplay. It will be another snippet of it, but it will be way more advanced than what you saw in the Arena Commander. And
for example, when they said that fire would be out in June, they said that being able to extinguish the fire by venting the air out of that part of the ship would not be at first. So presumably, our only means of fighting fires at first will be extinguishers. The main things about the engineering that will be in the Tech Preview first will be armor, armor degradation, damage to ship components, component repairs, and blowing fuses from damage. One thing that Jarek teased from the June release, which I will be taking as being in the live, not Tech Preview, was having some doors that will open for you if you are wearing the right costume. And this could open much more types of sneaking around gameplay.
But there's a new door scanner for the content that's in June that basically the door only opens if you're dressed like one of the bad guys. And so you have to kill one of the bad guys and take their outfit. You have to put the outfit on. It scans your loadout and says if you look like the bad guy, then the door opens. And just that little tiny thing, extrapolate the kind of content we can make from now on. Extrapolate the kind of spy content, infiltration stuff, the whole things where you don't have to go through and slaughter and kill everybody. Maybe their whole mission where you never fire a single shot. You have to pretend.
Which is a fine movie trope, but would a real future security system be that easily fooled? They then teased that there would be some sort of other way of opening doors involving engineering gameplay.
so we identified that it might be very interesting to have a breaching mechanic coming with the engineering gameplay.
This seemed to indicate some sort of fuse or hacking mechanism, or that old sci-fi trope of ripping the panel off and shorting the wires. And I'm all for that last one. But again, it was described as an engineering method, so it might only be in the tech preview. Then there was this conversation, which happened when the subject was bringing up small vehicles in the freight elevators. And it wound up teasing that there was some sort of vehicle class item that they were planning on releasing in April, presumably for IAE, but they needed a bit of changes to the elevators, which they apparently ready, but not ready to be promised for 4.2. And then there was a bit of pantomime from Jarek about what that thing they wanted to release in April but couldn't. And I'm going to include the whole clip because even apart from the pantomime, there is just so much nonverbal communication going on here.
Did you get?
Why are you so depressed about that? Actually, it's like not.
I want it so much, Thorsten.
Yeah, but.
Tell them. Go ahead. Okay, here. There are no secrets about elevators. Elevators are not a thing we have to keep secret. If you've got anything to tell these people, tell them.
Well, as Jared said, we all want it. But, so, next patch will be cool. I don't think we will have... but to also like manage the expectations here. So we will not have everything.
It's an elevator. Don't hype them up for an elevator. Go ahead.
No, we will not have everything solved for that, but there will be something that will at least prove that we are on a good way.
He is. No, it's just. I will say that there's something we wanted to do back in April that required the elevator, a little bit of elevator functionality that we couldn't quite get in April, and
is coming soon.
Yes, and let's just say the ability to bring up small vehicles in those side elevators is. When we talk about the table, that's in those first 6 inches. I want it so bad. And the first thing it's going to deliver is so cool.
It's a PTV. That wasn't a PTV.
No, that wasn't a PTV.
What was it?
That was a big machine that goes... I'm just going to compose my apology to Chris Roberts now.
So I feel less wrong having predicted that the fourth new ship for ILW is going to be a combat version of the Atlas mech because, well, quite apparently it was supposed to be that. And then to reinforce what Jared only mimed, the Starfare Attack promotion video has a view of them. And while they look big and beefy, note that they are standing up in a 3 SCU high cargo bay, so that would mean that they could be no more than 11 feet high. So if you're expecting something like Mech Warrior or Pacific Rim types, they are very, very small, which was always going to be the case. Now, are these going to actually be the way the final ones are going to look? I wouldn't be surprised if the guns are smaller, size 2 perhaps, because these just look quite unwieldy. I'm thinking perhaps 2 smaller guns, 1 on each arm, will be easier to move around and give you perhaps the flexibility to use weapon groups and staggered fire. And not only that, but we are going to get the extra bonus of being able to bring them up in the freight elevators. And apparently all the other versions of the Atlas mech and even buggy and rover-sized vehicles, and I presume bikes too, and not to belabor the obvious, this will be a huge quality of life improvement for all sorts of professions in the game. Having to bring your main ship down to store and then bring up each mech, rover, buggy, bike separately, move it to the side, and repeat until completed, and then bring up the main ship is incredibly time-consuming and boring. Being able to leave your main ship in place while bringing up the mechs, perhaps several of them, in the freight elevator will be so much easier. I can see why they decided to put off the combat mechs until they could do that. But honestly, I was mostly excited just to see them excited. Trying to keep up the near monthly patch cycle can be quite wearing, and it seems they do still have the energy going. Also, while on the subject of fan get-togethers, CIG has given out a form to ask about Citizencon watch parties so that they can spread around CIG people to them. I'm looking for collaborators for an LA watch party supported by the captain's members. So I'm going to be putting up a post on the channel to try to gauge interest. But buried in the information was some news about Citizencon Direct itself. The Citizencon Direct will be just 2 hours long and will begin at 8 p.m. Manchester time. That will place it at 3 p.m. New York and other East Coast cities, and noon at Los Angeles and other West Coast cities. The 2-hour total time is well less than half the length of prior virtual Citizencon events, so I would expect this year's to be very compact and almost entirely about Squadron, since there would be very little talk about new features for the PU that wasn't already laid out in Los Angeles and Manchester. So look for that other post and let me know what your interest might be. Now for an update on my giveaways, we still have the annual IAE Week giveaway coming up for that shiny stainless steel series shipping ship, the Starlancer Max. And then the Grow the Channel ship giveaway at 20,000 subscribers for the winner's choice of the marvelous multi-role multiplayer mining meta, the Arresta, or the Banu Big Box Bargain Bazaar, the Merchantman. 1 entry per video. Members, you're entered automatically. Everyone else, just subscribe and comment with the secret word. And the secret word for this video is what we will have to use to combat fires in the initial tech preview of engineering. Fly safe, keep it real, and I'll see you in the verse. This is Daniel Raymond with Ray's God.